Hello, and welcome to Rising with RLP. I'm Tammie, your host, the owner and founder of RLP Holistic Wellness, also a meditation coach, breathwork facilitator, self-love and self-discovery speaker. And thanks for joining me for this podcast. This first season is We Are the Divine Femme, because We Are the Divine Femme was the first online summit I did. And I feel that many people hold on to their stories, and their stories could help people. So take a moment, take a listen, sit back, relax, and get ready to enjoy. Hello, and welcome to Rising with RLP. I am your host, Tammie, and guys, we're on episode 6. I'm really super excited because you guys already know this is something that's new for me. So one thing I want to talk to you guys about, though, I'm being joined by 3 of my fave ladies. We've got Courtnie from TuckedIn Tarot, Laura from LNM Dreams and Tarot Interpretations, and guess what? We got a new bestie, guys. We got Black Moon Taylor Marie, that's visiting us as well. And thanks, guys, for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, Tammie.
Hello.
I'm super excited about this. Like, you know, when you have like this setup, normally it's just you and another person, or it's just you. Then when you have like a full house, as I would consider it, it's kind of like, it's exciting because you don't know where to kind of go with it. Where is it going to go? How's it going to vibe?
That's how most of our conversations happen.
Right? Oh my goodness. So I'm going to start out with this. So let's just start with like how you're doing. Like, how the fuck are you guys? Like, by the way, you can say fuck. This is totally explicit.
Uncensored.
Yep, it's completely uncensored. I refuse to be censored. I'm not going to censor myself. All right. Let's talk about business, because all 3 of you own your own business, and all 3 of you just so happen to be in the spiritual, holistic. How's it going for you guys?
It's going really good. I'm tired though, and I got made fun of earlier by my companion because I was like, "Oh, I'm going to send out the Zoom link for the pre-meeting before the roundtable," and he's like, "So you turned into corporate Courtnie now?" I'm like, "That's not what that is." He goes, "Oh, if it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck." I'm like, "Damn it, you're right." I was really trying hard not to put an email. "Hey guys, welcome. We're going to do a touch base." I'm like, "Oh, Jesus." Oh. Made my skin crawl.
Is it bad that I would have like totally loved that? Like for me, I would have felt so like, even though I do feel important when I receive a text from you, I feel important. But like, I would have felt really like, I'm like, oh my God.
Well, you can do spiritual corporate. I mean, why not? There you go. You can own it.
It feels like I should be in a really god awful like pantsuit when I talk like that, and it just gives me PTSD when I worked in in retail, and you have the CEOs or your district manager coming. "We're gonna do a touch base. We're gonna have a meeting of the minds. We got this." Like, oh my God, I want to run from that. And I'm like, I just don't want to have that in my in my business.
The best part about like working from home or just having your own business in general is like sending the most professional of professional emails in your pajamas or like with no pants on. Like, so the vibe is still there, but it's a little bit different. It has a bit of a twist to it.
It does, because you can be more relaxed, but it just, I don't know. I just feel like because I run my own business, I don't want to have that feeling because it just doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel
Mhm.
like me. It's something that really just irritated me to no end. Just I couldn't stand it. Like, and I don't want to do that with anyone that I'm partnering with. I don't want that kind of energy or vibe into my business. So that for me as a business owner and a spiritual leader is something that I'm like, oh damn, I really need to exercise that on out because that is not the vibe. Like,
Did
we're
you
gonna put some
just do the
holy water.
robot? Did you really just do the robot? I
did.
felt it. I felt it.
Dude, you're gonna put some holy water on that because that's not gonna work for me.
Burn some incense, do a little chant.
Something.
Just get it on out of there.
Vibes out of here.
Mm-mm.
You know, I will say I have to say that I got to agree with Taylor though. Like being in my pajamas and sending an email, you know, hi, this is Tammie from RLP Holistic Wellness. I'm just sending you your appointment reminder, and all while wearing my muumuu.
Yes.
I loved it. I actually feel like I could work better when I'm comfortable. When I
Mm.
could wear my comfortable clothes, I'm in a comfortable environment. I can work at my own pace, my own speed. Like I just feel so much more comfortable. I feel like I work way more efficiently being able to do that.
Agreed. And you get to sleep in a little bit later because you don't have to commute. You can take a shower on your lunch break if you want, or a little nap. Like, you can't do that at the office. You see?
I was waiting for you to say the nap part because, baby, I take a nap every day. Every day. And my naps are not little 30-minute power naps. I take that 2 to 3 hour good sleep and then get up. Like, I love being able to control my own day and also being able to choose who I want to work with and who I don't work with.
Yes. Yes. The choice of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that is so freeing. Because I just refuse. I refuse to deal with other like business partners who either don't have respect for me or themselves or their business. And I don't want to deal with clients that are going to be rude and pushy and they don't respect what I'm doing. That I don't have to deal with that anymore. If we're not a match, we're not a match. And that is so freeing. Like,
Right. Yeah. And you don't have someone like over your shoulder, like a supervisor or a manager being like trying to tell you like how to handle those situations. Like you can handle those situations like 100% from your core values because it's you, it's your business. So you don't have to sacrifice anything, who you are, your integrity. Like you just have that freedom to run it your way, which is one of the most authentic things that you can do.
Agreed.
Yes. And those connections that you build are real. Like you're really feeling it because you're doing it on your own time, your own terms. You're feeling people out like energetically. And it's so nice to find people like that.
I agree.
You guys.
I agree with you guys. You know, I remember when I was in the corporate world, and I remember getting a really disgusting call I was working for a wireless company. We won't refer to their name, wireless. And a gentleman that called in was like talking dirty to me, like real dirty. He was like, ooh, tell me this and tell me. I looked at my manager and my manager looked at me and gave me the hand of keep the call going. I'm like ready to end the call. And she's like, I'm like, excuse me? Excuse me? And after leaving that wireless company, I realized that, wow, I don't ever want to work for a company again that puts me in a place where I have to take certain amounts of abuse.
Yeah.
Because even at the Big Dub, I know a lot of people that have worked at Big Dub. I worked at the Big Dub. And I'll never forget the day that I heard the girl that was working at customer service scream that this man hit her with fishing. And she couldn't do anything about it. The store didn't do anything about it. This man walked out of the store perfectly fine without a problem. You know, how do you guys feel when it comes to that? Because like listening to Taylor, when you were saying that you don't have to work with people that you don't want to work with, and you don't have a manager looking over your shoulder. Tell me how you guys are feeling in that sense now, like being your own boss lady.
Oh, free. Absolutely free.
It's the only way.
Mhm,
It's
it
the
is
only
the
way
way.
now.
But did you all ever have, when y'all decided to make your own business and you knew that you weren't going to be able to clock into a corporate run business and have that 9 to 5 and have that steady paycheck, did you all have that moment of grief when you all made that decision? Because I know for me, I did. I ugly cried in my kitchen because I was scared. I'm just like, this is something unfamiliar. But a part of me was like, you have to let this go because this is not healthy for you. But there was a moment of grief.
Well, I still work for a company, and I also do my spiritual business. But there have been things in life that are like life changing that I've gone through where I've had to literally like release and allow the new to come in. And there is that pivotal like transitional time where you have to kind of take a little time over time and release some of that. And then you have to grab some of the new stuff. And you're kind of holding both in both each hand a little bit until you get comfortable enough. And then you can finally, do that final big release. And yeah, it's definitely very interesting.
Yeah, I definitely cried. That's for sure. Like when I transitioned out of the corporate world, but not because of any like I grieved being in the corporate world. Like I knew I needed out like ASAP. I more so was, which actually is very similar to what you were saying, Courtnie, is just like the unfamiliar essentially, and not having any guaranteed success or income. Like it all falls on you. And that's the thing when you start your own business, is that you don't have a supervisor or manager or really any guidebook that tells you what to do and how to do it. Like that's on you to figure out. And when you make that transition from the corporate world to having your own business, in a lot of cases, sometimes like you're the only one who could see your vision for your business, and it could feel lonely. And that's also another reason why I broke down a couple of times in the very beginning and throughout. Like, I will admit that I cry when I need to cry. And in the beginning, yes, it was fear. It was the uncertainty. It was also feeling like I was letting people down because I feel like, again, I was the only one who saw the vision, who saw what I could be, what my business could be. And I had fear, as well as some of the people closest to me, but I saw through the fear where they were like looking out for me. But I could tell that I was in that moment alone in this transition. And I think a lot of people have to go through that, transitioning that. So it's so many different things that came up, but those were just some of the things that I experienced too when I first started. So
see, I think that's really interesting how you and Courtnie went through the grieving process. For me, I left my corporate job in 2016. And so like haven't worked. Well, I did Beachbody. I was a Beachbody coach and my mom was my only client, but I will say I was successful with that one client because my one client went from 245 pounds to 98 pounds. By the way, my mom's 4'9", so it's not unhealthy. And she's still like, she's doing great. My mom is 63. So like, she's doing really good. I would say I was really lucky though to have a partner that was really supportive. Waldo said to me, I don't know what you're doing. I don't understand what you're doing. When I started the business 3 years ago, he's like, I don't understand, but it makes you happy. You're enjoying it and you're helping people. So like he's like, I'll do whatever I can. And you just do your thing. Now I still fucking ugly cry sometimes. I'm like, this is awful. And with people not seeing your vision, it hits hard sometimes. It hits hard. It's right at this point in time, especially like in my culture, because they hear the first thing that people hear when I say, oh, I practice Buddhism, they think, oh my goodness, you do not believe in God. And it, in our culture, like when they think you don't believe in God, you're doing the devil's work. Like, seriously, they think of doing the devil's work. But, my mom at first didn't understand. And then finally she got to a space, and one day she said, do you mind reading my cards? And I looked at her. I was like, oh, say what? You want me to what you? She's, did you read my cards? I was like, of course
I had the same experience with my mom too. Like, they started coming to me for like business readings and stuff for my parents' business. And I'm like, that's what I'm here for. We're like collaborating now, guys.
It felt good. And I'm like, I love that though. And Laura, I've got a big question for you, because I do have a question for Courtnie as well. When's your end game? I'm going to put you on the spot. What is your end game when it comes to your business and your corporate?
My end game is to, sometimes I feel like my business is almost like it's a breathing entity. It evolves with me. But from the very beginning, I've always seen myself doing my actual business full time to support myself, which is dream interpretation mainly. I do other readings, but I'm just really excited because not only do I want to do that full time and have that be my main source of not just income, but just what I love to do, but I want to teach people how to do it as well. So I want to be doing workshops. I want to be like almost like having kind of almost like a school of some kind where you can sign up for courses. And I want people just to be really excited about it. And I want them to really take that, learn the tool that they have already. They just need to know, just like anything, when you start a new job anywhere, as soon as you learn what your resources are and how to utilize them, that's going to give you success in your job. And it's the same thing for dream interpretation and all that other kind of stuff. So that is my end game, is just to, really be known as somebody that you could come to really help you kind of work with and get to know your resource for the tools that you already have.
I love that, Laura. I do. I love that, Lala. Courtnie, question that I did have for you. How was it for you speaking to your family about being open in the spiritual aspect?
Oh, okay. Well, it's kind of a mixed bag. I'll start with my brother. Now, my brother, I love him. He's cool as hell. He's just a great dude. But we have very different spiritual beliefs. Like, he leans more towards kind of like the Christian faith. And when I told him I was doing tarot cards, he's like, hey, look, you can do whatever you want, but just don't do any readings for me. I just need I'm just gonna pray, and that's all I know, and I'm good. And I'm like, all right, cool. I can respect that. So I never pull on him or his family or anything like that. So I do respect those boundaries. But growing up, I did get introduced to, I'm going to do quote unquote witchcraft by my mom. When I was about 10, she started doing these full moon rituals with us because we were, grieving. That's when my parents got divorced. There was a lot of changes. My mom was, going through her own identity and big changes and all this. And to help us with releasing some of the things that we were feeling and thinking, she would have us write them down, fold it up, and we would burn those bad boys in the backyard every full moon. So it was like burning prayers. And we were like, smoke cleansing and this and that. But that's pretty much where it kind of stopped with her. She did introduce me to tarot cards. But when I started to build up my business, and this is kind of where it gets a little bit uncomfortable and where it just was not that smooth transition, because even though I was introduced to tarot cards and crystals and spirituality by my mother, when I started to build up my business, I didn't really get the support that I thought I would have gotten. I got a lot of I was like, hey mom, I got my first client and I did this and I did this and I did this. And I would get hit with the, well, I started that first. It was almost like a weird kind of like competition thing that was happening. And I really had to pull back. And whenever I was going through the job loss and trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to maintain paying my bills and, and trying to build up this business. And I remember like talking to her, like, and I was just crying. I was just stressed the hell out. And I was like, Mom, I was like, I cannot do another like customer service job. I cannot work for another company. I just like every fiber of my being is like screaming out, going, you cannot do this. And instead of being someone who's going to be incredibly supportive or be like, hey, I'm a little nervous that, you're deciding not to do this, but I'll support you. It was, well, what else are you going to do? As if I didn't have another skill set or there were no other options for me. And it made me really angry, but it also helped to kind of fuel that fire to make sure that I launched my business and I did what was necessary. Unfortunately, I'm not really speaking to my mother at this point in time because I did need to pull back and not have some of her influence affect what I was doing. I love her. She is one of my favorite people. And I thank her for giving me the opportunity of introducing me to all of this. But there is just not the consistent support of going, this is what my daughter's doing. I'm really proud of her. Da, 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 da. She's creating her own business. Like, they haven't shown up to anything like meetups, events, like not really much of anything. I did a couple of readings for her and that was about it. So it's kind of a weird dynamic that I have. So it can be a little bit stressful, but I'm still here and I'm doing what I'm doing and I'm really happy. And I still have like the support of my brother, which means everything to me because he has the mindset of being the entrepreneur because he was like doing music. And if y'all don't know, his name is Jay Fleet. He's on YouTube. He's amazing. But we talk almost every week and he's just like, I'm really proud of you. Like, I'm really proud of you. Like, he didn't know I moved out here to North Carolina to pursue this. Like, I waited. What month are we in? We're in June. I moved out here in February. I just told him 2 weeks ago that I moved out here. Like, my family doesn't know that I'm out here in North Carolina. Well, they might know now if they hear this podcast, but I had to do something for myself. And he was just like, I'm proud of you. Like, he's like, I don't fully understand what you're doing, but just do it. And he's like, I'm here. And I told him I did your podcast on the 3rd episode and he listened to it and he loved it. So I'm relearning some of the dynamics of my relationships and who is going to be supportive and who isn't. And those who are not are just not. And I don't necessarily need to take it personally, but the people who are here that I can talk to and that can relate to me, like Tammie and Laura and Taylor, I really do cherish those moments and those connections. And that's what's important to me. So if you are going to start a business, and if you are starting out and you're listening to this and you feel defeated by your friends and family not supporting you, sometimes they're just not going to because they only will see you one way and they're not going to be there when you're struggling. They're not going to be there when you first do your events. They may not even buy your products whenever they first launch, but let your ass get successful. Let you have that. I showed you money and success. And if that has to be your driving force and you have to be a little bit petty, baby, go ahead and do that. Because I'm not gonna lie, that's a little bit part of what I'm doing as well too. Okay. Yes. Well, you kind of want some of that fucking money. I'm just saying. But exactly. But you want that success. And if I had only one person to have that support and I have my brothers, like I'm so here for it. And as far as family goes, right now, that's really the only support that I need because his opinion is the one that matters the most to me at this point in time, because he actually is the type of person that I genuinely respect. So yeah, so that's a bit of my family dynamic.
I love
a roller coaster.
I love to hear how you're feeling about it, how you're able to overcome that. Really quickly too, though. Talking about families. Yesterday, Taylor, by the way, Taylor does astrology. You guys will totally hear about her and her astrology and her books. But I have to say this, I'm still bitching. I'm gonna be bitching for a couple days, Taylor. So now that you've exchanged numbers, I may even send you one in the middle of the evening, Taylor. I found out this. You might want to check it out. But
oh my gosh, please do. I need more of that. I need more astrology homies to like have like research sessions and like have breakthroughs and theories. Like I need that. So
you know what? Hey, Courtnie even called it. She said, she's like, you didn't even take a breather. And I was in the car leaving her voice messages, pressing the mic. And that's why it was a complete run-on sentence, Courtnie. That's why it was a run-on sentence. Because I was just like, and I looked at this and I found this. But we got to meet Taylor's mom.
yeah.
But I did hear you start talking about, how it was with being supported.
Right. Yeah. No, we've definitely come a long way. Like my mom, she's always been my best friend and she's always wanted the best for me. And she gets anxious when she worries about me. And I've never, ever, ever blamed her or faulted her for that. And I think that from her perspective, that the safest thing to do was to go to school, go to grad school, get that corporate job, have a steady paycheck, make your own money, like live your own life, all of that. And like fair, like I can't argue that. But it just was, killing me for the longest time, realizing that I wasn't fitting into that mold that would have had her feeling better, which in turn would have had me feeling better. Cause like when she's anxious, I'm anxious. But, so it was definitely like a transition. Her and I have definitely gone back and forth when I first started my business, and it was super rough. Like when I first started my business, I was dealing with a breakup with someone that I was engaged to. Like I was engaged, we were about to get married and all of that. And then we broke up, and then I moved across the country, and then I got a corporate job and hated it. So then I quit that and then lost my job. And then something happened with one of my close friends, and now we don't talk anymore. And then I started my business, and then my mom was expressing a lot of concern. So it didn't feel like I had her in my corner either. So like, I felt like I lost everything when I first started this. And I definitely like cried a lot, thinking that I was disappointing my mom and thinking that I was a disappointment and that I was just letting her down like over and over and over again, because I would express to her, like, I have this opportunity, I made this much, I did these many readings. And it felt like the responses that I received, there was always a reason to still be worried about how this was going to go. And I remember expressing to her, I was like, how could someone, because I dove headfirst into this business. Like I did not leave the house. I was working 24/7 because I wanted to, because I was passionate about it. And I said to her, I was like, Mom, how could someone work this hard and this diligently every single day and not end up finding success? I know I'll hit the wall, like I'll hit roadblocks, like I will fail a million times along this path. But if I just never give up, how is it possible that I will never eventually be successful? And I think over time, it started to click. But there was one time where I think she was super, super anxious, and she was really pushing me to put my business on the back burner so I could find a sense of stability. And I knew I couldn't do that. Like we were very much on different pages. And she was essentially worried about me crashing and burning. And I said to her, I was like, if that is my fate, so be it, because I am not giving up on my business. I care about this more than anything. I cannot go back to that old job. I cannot go back to the old field that I was in. I cannot put my business on the back burner, because it is so important to me. And I was like, if you need to turn away and not look as I crash and burn, I will not fault you for that. If you don't want to see that happen to me, if you're so worried about it, like I'm okay with it. Like I understand the consequences of my choices if I do not make this work, because I'm confident that I will, and I'm going to bet on myself. And I'm not expecting you to bet on me, but I am all in on myself. And I was like, so if we need to have some distance or some boundaries because you can't bear to watch just in case something happens, then we need to have that boundary and distance. And I think it was in that moment she realized just how much I was willing to put into this. And we both cried. We had a moment, and she took a breather and took a minute and then came back to me and was just like, you know what, Taylor, like, you know, you were a determined child. I will say that. She's like, you like could not be stopped. If you wanted something when you were a kid, you got it. You were relentless. And I knew that one day I was going to be grateful for that. I knew that one day that was going to make you a strong woman, even though you were very stubborn and hard-headed as a kid. But when you want something, you get it. And I remember her saying to me, she was like, when I really think about it, if anyone can do this and be successful, it's going to be my daughter. And in that moment, we kind of turned a new leaf, and we came from more of a place of understanding and support, because I told her, I was like, all I need from you is support, and that's it. Just believe in me. Even if it's not as much as I believe in myself, just believe in me. And I told her, I was like, I know that I'm stressing you out. I know that none of this makes sense to you right now. I promise you, one day it will. Like, it will make sense. You don't understand me now, but you will. And I promise you, I'm going to choose this every day. And I'm choosing myself. I'm choosing this. And lo and behold, I mean, that was months and like that was last year. And now where I am right now, she's, you know, to bring it back to the original question, Tammie, she's coming to my events now, and she's meeting you guys, and she's meeting my friends, and I'm showing her like, these are my friends. This is my support system. This is my group. This is my community. And like, this person does this and this person does that. And, you know, I have this opportunity. I have that opportunity. I'm publishing this. I'm teaching that. Like, and now like I'm showing her everything and inviting her. And I'm like, get immersed in this world with me so you could see what I was talking about. And she does. And now, and she's so proud of me now and so supportive now. And it definitely wasn't easy, but I think we do it over and over and over again so that we could still have our relationship and I would still have my business. Cause again, like I'm not giving up on this, not for anything, no matter what. So I hope that answered your question. I hope that like kind of
it so did. Like, you know, to hear, the thing is that I know that, I don't know, like I know a lot of people when they first start, the same thing. Like, I always said, people, you need to rest. You need to rest. You need to sit down and this and this. But I need to, like, my mindset is like, I need to keep going. If I stop, if I step away, I'm not going to get where I want to get to. My goal is this is what I want. That's my goal. This is where I want to be. I love being able to assist people and help people achieve their own human revolution. I had, you know, one of my forgiveness life coach sessions with a client, and she said to me, I said to her, I made plan with her and set up a commitment for her. I said, okay, so do I have your commitment to do this task, you know? And she said, yes, you do. And she asked me, she said, you know, I was looking at a review, and one of your clients said that, like, the way that they see you now is they see you like once or maybe twice a year. And I had to go in and explain to her some different things. But for me, and this is just the way that it's gone. And it's because you put so much hard work into what you're doing. You come up with that plan, you come up with that idea. Well, the way that my forgiveness coaching clients start is we set 3 months. So 90 days. My goal is to assist my client in being able to step into that place of where they can do it themselves. And it just so has happened every single life coach client that I've had in the forgiveness life coaching. Every single time we do the 3 months, They are feeling good. Then we go to every 3 months, where we see each other once every 3 months, once every 6 months. I have a client that I see twice a year, and it's just, she schedules, we talk for a couple hours, and she's just like telling me about where she's going in her life and where things are at. She's excited. And then I always ask the same question. Okay, what's your next plan for next year? What do you want to see next year? And then I go into the, what would it feel like if you were in that space that you were talking about? What would it feel like? What do you see? And it goes into like, I fucking love it. I love it. Achieving your own human revolution fucking rocks. And guess what? Life is fucking life. And life will life you. People will be people. But it's when you change that reaction, change your mind, change your mindset, change your life. And Miss Laura, I want to ask you about your family. Now that I'm getting off my fucking, soapbox, you guys, how I am about the damn soapbox. So, Lala, how did your family feel?
So I have like my sister and my cousins are pretty supportive. My dad has passed, unfortunately, before I started. And I don't know my mom knows much about it, but the in-laws and stuff, they just find it quote unquote interesting, I guess. But that's okay. I mean, I'm not doing it for them, I'm doing it for people that are ready to, go on their journey. I'm doing it for people that are ready to learn about themselves and that are already to that point. I'm not going out and advocating or trying to get, people to come to me. I want the people that are already ready to find me and be there. And that's the support that I really get outside of networking with like-minded folks. And I really think that that's one thing that a lot of people don't talk about too, is like the networking with this community can be so awesome. It can really make or break, because we all have different specialties and different gifts and different ideas and things that you can do, and kind of banding together and, getting people to, know that you're out there if they are ready is so crucial. And it's pretty amazing, really. I found a lot of really great like-minded and good energy out there with folks. And it's almost just as like fun and important as, having your actual clients, I feel.
And that is true. I do believe that. I've made some very good friends, very good connections with people, and collabing, supporting each other. I love being able to support other people and like cheer them on. Like we all deserve to be cheered on. And
I learned so much. Like I've learned so much about Reiki. I've learned so much about astrology. I've learned so much about tarot. I've learned, I thought I had, everything memorized in tarot, but I didn't really learn the like actual intuitive side of picking up a card and just looking at it without trying to know like what it meant. Like looking at it with my feelings, you're never going to learn everything. And that's what is awesome about networking, because the people that are really good and do have a special way of seeing things, you can really like tap into that and like really get a new perspective. And it just makes you a better, advocate or trainer or, guru, whatever it is that, your goal is and what you're doing. So I absolutely love it. It's so much fun.
It's that always learning and that being open to learn, because like I personally, I only knew about the basics of astrology. Yesterday I learned a completely new way and I fell in love with that way. And so much so I messaged Courtnie. I was like, good morning. And I know she got that message. She was like, did Tammie message me at 6:30 in the morning? Oh, no, she didn't.
No, you're good. I was asleep, but I was doing the same thing because even when I got off, I was like, oh, I want to look into the astrocartography thing. And I was like, let me just see how this is affecting me. And baby, I went through 2 lines. I'm like, man, okay. I'm going to set aside some time because this is hitting on so many things that I'm currently going through. And then when I left, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna need to get my notes together. That way I can message Taylor and have a little one-on-one time with her. Because
absolutely, anytime. No, I'm so excited for all of you. Like, and this one makes me so happy to hear because that was my goal and purpose in doing that astrology panel, introducing different astrological systems. And even though I'm not the expert on all of them by any means whatsoever, like I know of them and I've done my own research just to honor and acknowledge like the vast history and cultural backgrounds of all these different systems. And I wanted to give an introductory so that we know what we're doing when we go to cast a chart and what we're doing and why and where it even comes from, but then just like send you off with all this information so that whatever interests you, you could go and like look into this branch of astrology, this like way of calculating the planets, this house system. Like I just wanted to present it all to you guys and then like have y'all run with it in any way, shape, or form that, you know, speaks to you and resonates with you. So I'm hearing that that's how it's landing. So that just makes me so happy because I really, really wanted to just share everything that I knew about all of that.
I love that. And Laura was one of the very first people that I ever worked with that I heard say, I want to teach people how to do it themselves. And I was like, that's my law, because I wanted to, that's my goal. I want to teach people to do it themselves so they can feel empowered, you know, because there's a million of people that do what we all do. There's tons of people that do what we all do. And not all of them are teaching and showing people how to do what we all do. Because
and we don't heal people, we empower people to heal themselves.
That's what
yes. Yes.
Empower people. That's all I want to do. I want people to feel better and know that, hey, you can do it yourself.
Yeah. Putting the power like back into your client, back into your friends, back into the people that you serve and work for, like putting the power back into them rather than becoming like the sole source of healing or information. It's more so like, no, here are tools. Here's how you use them. I'm here to support you as you do the thing yourself. But that's just what I'm here for. And you know, recently like coming out in my business as more so of like a teacher now and doing panels and doing classes and whatnot. And recent events also have just led me to philosophically form this, you know, belief that as teachers or spiritual workers, we have a responsibility to advocate for being critical consumers. Thinking for yourself. Don't follow someone blindly or take everything that everyone says as gospel. Like think for yourself, challenge things, you know, be open-minded, like change your mind, be open to changing your mind and all of that. So that's also something that, you know.
I agree. Because I feel like when we start looking at some teachers, some gurus, leaders, whatever, if you feel like you're not allowed to grow or seek out additional information or even leave that teacher, like that is something that I let all of like the students that I have, I'm like, look, you're only supposed to be with me for a period of time. It could be 6 months, it might be a year, it could be 5 years, whatever. But we're not meant to have this dynamic forever and a day, because at that point, I'm not doing my job. I'm not serving you in the way that I'm supposed to. I'm just supposed to teach you what I know that has worked for me, for you to then take that information and then apply it to your life and figure out what works for you. So then that way you can then teach people. And you may not necessarily run a business, but you're going to minister to people. That's why we go through all those trials and tribulations, because you're meant to share the information to someone who's really going to need it. And I do think that it gets really dangerous, especially whenever I started reading tarot. I was getting, clients who were just really either heartbroken or they're desperate for answers. And there was like this neediness of just tell me what I need to do. Tell me who I am. Tell me especially tell me what my purpose is. That question always bothered me, because I'm like, I can't tell you what your purpose is. I can only tell you a snapshot of what is currently going on, but you have to figure that out for yourself. And I never wanted someone to be solely dependent on me for all the answers. I can't maintain that energy, and that's not my responsibility. I can only tell you what I know works, but if you choose to use it, great. But if you choose not to, that's not on me. That's on you to fix your life and to make it better and to get the things that you want. So it's a little bit of a slippery slope, but there is a lot of responsibility to ensure that you are empowering your clients and your students to be able to stand up on their own and to believe in what they're doing, to feel comfortable, like with reading tarot. I ran into the cutest young man at, oh my God, I sound like my grandfather, Jesus, at a store earlier. And we got to talking. He's like, yeah, well, I just started picking up tarot and I'm, still reading using the book. I'm like, baby, use the book. Use any tool that is there for you without shame, because that's the only way that you're going to get comfortable with it and figure out your own style of reading. And I want to encourage people to get up and try things. And if you have to take those baby steps, take those baby steps. Do what you need to do to feel comfortable, because you may not be meant to read intuitively or to be a professional 6 weeks in. I've been reading tarot since I was 10, and I'm still learning things about the card. So it's forever evolving. So
yeah, I love that. I love that a lot. I think even the relationship itself can be a healing opportunity for people coming from vulnerable states to have a safe person to encourage them to tap back into their personal power and personal autonomy, where it's like, I can't give you the answers as much as I want to because I care for you, but I want to encourage you to be strong and stand on your own and like call that back from yourself. And like even modeling, as a teacher or a reader, if you disagree with me on something, like speak your truth, like question the things that I say. And that's something that I, promote all of the time. Like whenever I do panels, whenever I talk with people, I'm like, hey, like, I'm just me. This is what I'm saying based off of my background. Am I the all-knowing truth? No. If you disagree, like, please do. It facilitates conversation. If this doesn't land, if this doesn't resonate. And by doing so, I think we model a safe relationship where they can learn to express their feelings better. They can learn to stand up for themselves because they know that we of all people are not going to come back at them and be like, no, like I'm the all-knowing truth, or I told you this, you have to do it this way, like stuff like that. Like, no, like we're actually here for them. In my opinion, that's actually modeling a healthy relationship that they could take with them in other relationships in their life as well. So it's a ripple effect.
And how do you all feel? Like, have you all had the experience of having either a client or a student come back and tell you about the improvements that they've made, or just like follow like difficult, like I had this difficult conversation and I did this, or I was scared to try this. And I went out and I did it. I signed up for this group and now I'm a part of this volleyball team. Like, I love hearing about people's success and watching them grow and to be more confident and more just like relaxed in their body. Like, do y'all have that?
Oh yeah. One of my favorite things to experience ever. That gives me purpose. That gives me meaning. That shows me that my purpose in life and my meaning and my worth and my essence of even being here is for a reason. It's not how many clients I get or how much money I make or all this other stuff. It's really when someone comes back to me and is like, your being in my life has like helped me do this. And now I want to share my experiences of growth with you. That's how I know I was meant to incarnate on this earth, because of those experiences. So yes, 100%.
I feel you on that. It is something about when someone comes back and they're like, man, you wouldn't believe. That's why I love the one client that I have that I see now. She was with me in the very beginning, and she's still with me. That I see her twice a year. And we talk every 6 months, and she tells me about how things are going. We do a 2.5-hour call and get into the nitty gritty, talk about things, and then do her list, which is like her next plan for the next 3 months. And then the conversation ends with, I'll see you in 6 months. And then in 6 months. And I have other clients that are like back behind her. I have a client right now that I see every 3 months. And it's talking about how she's doing. We get Marco Polo. Marco Polo, I drink love it. But like we do Marco Polos with each other. And she talks about how she's doing during the week and stuff. One thing that I say to my students in the classroom is, tell me what you are feeling. If you do not feel that what I said resonates or what I'm showing you resonates, tell me. This is a safe space. I feel that we finally need to come from that space of, if we disagree, we have, because that is not the case. Just because you and someone else disagree doesn't mean there's a problem. It means that we don't have the same idea. And if we don't have the same idea, dude, tell me. I tell my students, please learn and educate yourself. It is really important, because for my spaces, that's how I did it. I went out and, sometimes you have these classes where it's like hybrid, where they give you their video list and then they see you like once a month or twice a month. And I did my classes back to back. So you'll notice that many of my certificates, the dates are very close, because I signed up for a whole bunch of classes, and it was like going back to college. And that's exactly what it was like. It was like going back to college and learning all over again. But it was so worth it. This whole thing, this life, all of this is worth it. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy, and I'm so grateful to be in this space. And I want to tell you guys, thank you for joining me. But before we end this, let's talk LN dreams and tarot interpretation. Tell everybody where they can see you, how they can see you, other than I'm going to have your Linktree link, and where they can find you.
I have a Facebook group that you can find. It's like dream interpretation discussion group. So if you have questions, you can find me there. I get on TikTok from time to time, so you can also find me there. And I do have an Instagram, and I have my book. So you can definitely buy my book from Amazon. It's like a dream journal on steroids. It teaches you like very core, easy, simple strategies to start learning how to interpret your own dreams. So I'm very proud of that. I've had a lot of success, feedback from that. But you can definitely find me on Amazon that way as well. And I will be doing some classes and things, hopefully by the end of the year. I got to get all that going, and I'm excited.
Yes.
So now I've got Taylor, who is above me on here. Taylor, tell the audience where they can find you, how they can get a hold of you, besides me having your links in the box.
Absolutely. Well, I'm very active and accessible because, like I said, this business of mine is my life. It's on 24/7. I do have my website. It's blackmoontaylor.com. That's where all of my readings are, all of my classes. I just came out with the full tarot course of teaching you how to read the cards. And I base it off of the Story of Tarot, which is based off of my book that I also published. It's The Story of Tarot, Not Your Average Guidebook. All of that is on my website, classes, books, readings, and I'm also very active with my community on TikTok. My TikTok is also Black Moon Taylor, and I go live pretty often and we do readings there. And I answer any and all astrology tarot questions that I get. And it's a very casual Q&A. It's a very casual conversation that we have. I can also be contacted through my website, through my email, through any platform on social media. So I'm out there if y'all need to find me.
Awesome. So you guys, last but not least, Courtnie, tell me how to get a hold of TuckedIn Tarot.
Yeah, so you can reach me at my website on TuckedIn Tarot. I do have a contact form, but you can also book readings with me. You can also sign up for my mentorship through that platform. But if you're wanting more of like a community experience, I do have an online platform on Meetup, and that's meetup.com. And it's under the same name, TuckedIn Tarot. It's awesome. And we have several different events that happen all the time. So we have weekend events where on Saturday we have an empowerment tarot where we have a theme for the month. And then we have 3 questions for the week. And then I'll pull the tarot cards and then we work together as a group to interpret the meaning of them. You have some journal prompts. It just helps to get you thinking. But if you're looking for a place to actually practice giving and receiving readings, I have my Tarot Social Hour on Sundays where you get partnered up and then you can practice that way. But also on the platform, I also have Miss Tammie who does morning and evening meditations on Mondays. We have Taylor Marie who actually, the panel that we were all talking about actually was last night. And Taylor Marie has gifted us with sharing her knowledge with the community. And then we also have Miss Laura of LM Dream and Tarot, who will be doing dream interpretations. And actually, Laura and I will be doing some dual readings next month on the platform. But if you want to hear all of us at the same time and also flake with sapphire hearts, we have a panel on the 28th of this month. And we're going to be talking about spirituality and money and our personal experiences and beliefs and things that we had to kind of break down. So that is on Meetup under TuckedIn Tarot. So that's how you can find me.
I love it. I love it. And you know what, ladies, I appreciate all 3 of you to have you guys in my life, to be able to experience and work with you guys, collab with you. So I want to tell you and express my gratitude to all of you. Also, listeners, let me tell you, and this shows you that just because you do similar things or you do things different doesn't mean you have to be hating. I was going to add some more words, but I stopped myself. But it's true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we go through different avenues and do things in this line of work. And you find that many people put other people down. Many people talk bad about people. But guess what? Life is life and people are people. So guys, very much for listening. Have a beautiful night and happy healing.